Hey you guys, welcome back to our channel. It's New Year's Eve and that means I'm making a charcuterie board as well as some other treats. So let's get started. First, I'm going to be making some German chocolate cupcakes, you guys. I don't know what possessed me to do this because I normally make a German chocolate cake, and today I decided that maybe I'll try some cupcakes with them, and they came out pretty good, but it was a real challenge, you guys. So I want to show you how we celebrate for New Year's Eve. When I was younger, we would do hors d'oeuvre night for Christmas Eve, but I've decided to do it for New Year's Eve so that my kids can kind of have the same experience. And so I'm going to be making these German chocolate cupcakes. My husband was a little bit disappointed that I didn't make German chocolate cake for Christmas with the gumbo. I made a lot of cookies for the kids and I just felt like it was too much. And so it's been a week, right? So that's enough time. So I'm going to go ahead and treat them with these German chocolate cupcakes. And so I'll tell you a couple of things that I did right and a couple of things that I did wrong along the way. But they came out pretty good, you guys, and you're going to be so excited to see the end result of this New Year's Eve hors d'oeuvre night that I'm having with my wine and cheese, or charcuterie board as some people call it. So I'm just finishing up these cupcakes, getting all of this batter off, you guys, and I'll give you the link to this recipe in the description. I've been making this for years, and it's not designed to be cupcakes. I just decided to do it this year. I usually only do a 3-layer cake and then put some frosting in between the layers. I don't even go around the whole cake with the custard. I just put the custard in between the layers and we love it that way. It's so good. So I'm spraying down my cupcake pan, making sure that all of them have an equal amount of non-stick spray. And so I decided to go in and try to make less of a mess by cutting the edge of the Ziploc bag off. And that didn't work too well because I wound up cutting the whole 2 bag and putting too much batter inside of each of the cupcakes. And so that first batch came out really big, but I did it right the second time. So here I'm going in with some beef meatballs, you guys. These are actually some beef meatballs that I got from Publix that I went today. And I'm going to be adding some Sweet Baby Ray's and also grape jelly. So apparently the grape jelly and barbecue sauce is a thing. I didn't realize all the times that I was eating these meatballs at different cocktail events or just work events that they had the grape jelly. And so I decided to do it for my family this year, and they came out pretty darn good, you guys. And so just add some barbecue sauce in there and the grape jelly and just give it a little bit of a turn and put it on high because I didn't have that much time left. I put the crock pot on high, but if I had all day I would have put it on low. Eventually we did cut it down to warm, but they were ready just in time, so high was good enough for me. So get that covered and then we're on to the next thing, you guys. Make sure you subscribe and leave me a comment and let me know what traditions do you have in your family or what new things you want to start doing with your kids or maybe your husband, your partner for the holidays. So let's get into this charcuterie board or wine and cheese board, whatever you want to call it, you guys. So first thing is I like to use a pineapple head. I did this for my husband's birthday and he loved it. And so I got a pineapple and I have one of those little spiral cutters and it works pretty well except for I lost a piece to it. And so I mainly just use it for the ease of getting the pineapple out, because I always cut my pineapple into chunks anyway. And so here I'm going to be pulling out this cute little wine and cheese board that I got from Amazon that was on clearance in one of my coupon groups, you guys, and I'll put the link in the description. And I like this board because it comes with utensils, but also it has a little place to put crackers around it, and I'm going to actually be using that to well, you'll see in a second. So there goes my pineapple head, and again I did this for my husband's birthday and I actually had a pineapple sitting around at that time. And today I actually bought this pineapple for this specific purpose, but I thought it was so cute as a centerpiece. And so here I just have some meats that I bought from Publix, some capicola, I have some prosciutto and also salami, and I bought a cheese pack already sliced up, and I'm going to just be laying those at a diagonal in all of the corners and just going in with the meat in between those spaces. And so this board makes it really easy, and I only paid a few dollars for it. It was on clearance that day at Amazon. And so thank goodness for my coupon groups, because they always keep me posted on the latest and greatest sales, you guys. So go ahead and just put how much meat you want. I didn't put all the meat because I didn't know how much the kids were going to eat. And so I'm going to be coming with that prosciutto. So what I decided to do with the prosciutto this time, because it's so hard to pull apart if you leave it stuck together and it's not that presentable, and also people normally eat prosciutto in one bite, I decided to go ahead and bundle them into their own individual bites and arrange it around the board in the little cracker spaces. And so that worked out really well. That way when my husband or the kids wanted to go for a bit of prosciutto or to put it on our cracker, it was already bundled up into a bite size and you just kind of popped it in your mouth. And the way I like to eat this is with an everything gluten-free cracker, because it's really crispy, with a little bit of whipped blue cheese. I'm going to be showing you guys that in a second, and also some fig preserves that I get from Publix, and it is absolutely delicious. The sweet, salty, and tangy that comes from the blue cheese is just delicious. And so I made this for my husband's birthday, and whenever I do a little hors d'oeuvre night, that's what I make it with, you guys. And the whipped blue cheese is really easy, and I'll be showing you that really quickly. And so as you can see, this board comes together easily. I could even use the cutting board that I had earlier out for the pineapple, and that would have made a wonderful wine and cheese board. And it's actually larger, but this is just right for a small gathering, small family that we have. There's only 5 of us, but we still like to do it big and do it special just for us. And so this is just the perfect size. And so I'll be showing you the finished product in a little bit. And so now I'm checking on those cupcakes. And so with the second batch, I didn't fill them as much, and they actually came out a lot better. But I did cut the cooking time down by 5 minutes from the recipe, just because I was making cupcakes instead of the actual cakes. But I left the temperature the same, which I think was 350. But again, I'll put a link down in the description. Make sure when you're down there, you click subscribe. Also go to everydayandersons.com. That's Everyday Andersons with an S, you guys. Sign up for our newsletter, and I'll be sending out just some updates on what we'll be doing in 2021. Do you guys have any New Year's resolutions? I have one. I'm going to make sure I stay in contact with you guys and let you know what we're doing around the Anderson household with our DIY, cooking, as well as cleaning. So stay tuned for that. How gorgeous. And here are the utensils. And I'm going to be adding something to that front part later, but for right now, I'll leave it like that. And this is some Manchego cheese that I got from Publix. I love Manchego cheese for wine and cheese boards because it has that taste of Parmesan, but it's not as hard. It has a softer bite, and I just love biting down into it, you guys. It is delicious. I'm going to cut it into some bite-sized cubes, and I'll be putting that on the board later. And so here I just have a dollar store tablecloth. I wanted to make it really festive for the kids, you guys. So we went to the dollar store the other day, the kids and I, and we got a couple of little treats for ourselves for New Year's Eve. And so here's that wine and cheese board, and now I'm just going to be adding that Manchego cheese right to the front of the board. So we'll be leaving the utensils exposed for everybody who wants to get some. And so now moving on to that pate, you guys. So I guess it's an official charcuterie board because I am actually doing pate. My husband loves chicken liver pate, and I love making it for him. And so he actually came home right in the middle of it, which was perfect timing, and he agreed to help me do the caramelized onions, and so I could focus on doing the actual livers, you guys. And this isn't my recipe. I'm going to put this recipe down in the description, but this is one that I love. It starts off with capers as well as anchovies, which has that briny flavor that I love. I love capers, big and small, and also garlic. So 3 things that my husband and I actually love, and my oldest son is actually starting to love pate as well. And so this is delicious, and you'll see the finished product of this at the end as well. Add a little bit of salt, let that cook down, and then I add some white wine, and this comes together pretty easily.
Taking me a while to get it. Had to live and cry to appreciate life.
And so now I'm adding that balsamic vinegar to the onions and let that cook down, and it becomes a nice syrupy topping for your pate. And we actually put this on French baguettes. There goes that white wine. I didn't know if I wanted to use all of it, but I did, and I came back with the rest of it. I have made this too thick before, and I had to stop myself from making that same mistake again. So I'm going to show you the baguettes later, and I just toast those in the oven for a minute or two. I don't get them too crispy. And here is the whipped blue cheese, you guys. You just throw in some blue cheese, half and half, and just whip it. Really, that's it. And you just get it to the texture that you like. We had this at a restaurant in Mobile, where we're from in Alabama. It's called the Noble South, and they actually have this with pickled shrimp and whipped blue cheese, and I thought it was just so unique, and I had to make it one day, and I did. And we had it on a charcuterie board with some prosciutto and crackers and fig preserves, and you guys, it is just lovely. If you like blue cheese, you'll definitely like the whipped blue cheese on crackers. Who would have thought, right? And that's it. And I'm just going to be plating this up in a bowl and setting this on the table for tonight. And so now that my liver is done, I have actually pulled out my Ninja blender, and I'm going to be putting the liver as well as all of the juice into that Ninja blender. And it looks like there's too much juice in there, you guys, and that's where I've made my mistake before, but it's not. Once that liver blends up, it's actually going to start to thicken when it cools down. And when it cools down, you don't want it to be too thick to spread on your toast or your crackers or whatever you have. And so it looks slightly soupy, and that's what you want. And as it cools down, it's going to be the perfect texture. I've made that mistake before, you guys, and I'm letting you know ahead of time. Don't do what I did. And so the very last thing I need to do is make that custard that goes onto the cupcakes or the cake if you're going to be making it. And one thing that I like to do in addition to toasting my pecans, you guys, is I also toast the coconut in the oven with the pecans. And this makes the biggest difference in your German chocolate cake. I am so serious. If you toast those pecans, you guys, you will taste the difference. It brings out the sweetness and everything. And so I'm going to go ahead and get this started. I have all of my ingredients in the pot. This comes together really fast with your condensed milk, eggs, butter, sugar, and you just cook that down into a custard. But guess what? My husband actually convinced me to do something a little bit different today, and we grabbed some vanilla crown, and we're going to be putting that into the custard. And so we just added a little bit for a kick of flavor, you guys, and it cooks down right. And so after that settled and cooled for a little bit, I came back with my cupcakes. I didn't want to do any type of liners because I knew the kids would just want to grab them and bite them. And so it's just us, and this came out really, really well. The first ones were big, but the second two batches came out the way I wanted them to. But this is a really soft, billowy dough, you guys, and so it's really hard to get it into cupcakes. And so I probably would do a different recipe for cupcakes, but this is just such a good recipe for a cake. So I encourage you guys to make that cake. And here are the meatballs, and look at those. They were delicious, okay? And so everything is done. So I want to show you guys what our New Year's Eve feast looks like, and I hope you enjoy it, you guys.
Written down the words to say, it is time. I've been waiting 5 days to explain how you make me feel inside. Baby, got it all figured out, wanna do this right. There's no doubt in my mind, baby, you're the one. And tonight, I am going all the way.
Thank you for all of your support. Make sure you subscribe. Visit us at everydayandersons.com. Mwah.